Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank
Awesome. Thanks for
you.
doing this.
Definitely, yeah.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
So, the first thing I want to start out asking is, Rachel, like, what inspired you to want to write the film, make it, and it's a very good horror film, and everyone is on their cell phones like 24 hours a day. With you're walking, riding a train, all you see is people with their head down on their phone or typing. I'm one of them, so
Yeah, yeah. Same.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I think that the real heart of the film is like about fear, and all fear lives in the future, anything that we're afraid of. And also it deals with like grief from the past, so like past, present, and future. And I thought about how we're so linked to our phones, and they know so much about us, and they know all of our griefs and all of our fears. And so if you had a vessel that was sort of using all of that against you. And that's really what inspired the film.
oh wow, okay. And Luke and the leads of the film, how did everyone get on board for the film, and what drew you all to want to do it?
Yeah, well, I think Whitney has a great story about
Yeah, mine was a real spiritual experience, I would say. I had taken 5 years off of acting cold turkey because I needed to take care of my own mental health. And then I just put it out into the cosmos. I was like, I don't have it in me to run around LA auditioning right now, but if a role were to just fall into my lap, I would love to take it. And, the following week, an old director I'd worked with reached out, and he said he hopped off a call with some producers, and then I met with the Sommers, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good turn of events.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and we saw Justin's reel on a casting website, and he had this awesome scene where he talked about this foot, and he was describing it in detail, and it was such a it threw us off guard, and it was hilarious, and we're like, wow, this guy, we got to talk to him. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know, Justin, maybe you have more to add about that.
Um, wow, thank you so much. It is insane that is a part of my reel, and it is insane that I put it there at the front. But it is some of the craziest stuff. I think I was playing a character that was just obsessed with feet, and they were like, "Here's the gist of the scene. Feel free to improvise." And so I was like, "I love to do improv, so let me put this at the front of the reel and see if it helps." Apparently it did, which is astounding.
It actually worked out great because you're one of the leads for the film, so
Yeah, wild. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And for anyone who don't know what the film is, I mean, whoever wants to take over the question, can you tell us a little bit about what the film is?
Yes, well, this film is about Wynne, who's played by Whitney, and she is suffering the loss of her fiance, who's played by Jared, who's sitting right next to Whitney. And they were driving in a car, and they got in a car wreck, and he died, and Wynne was driving. So she goes to this farmhouse to sort of she's got to collect her thoughts and process all of this. And while she's there, the phone starts showing her images, horrific images, of the future. And it gets worse and worse as the movie goes on. And she's also seeing, like, to allude to what Rachel was saying, she's seeing images of the past. She's seeing images of Liam on, like dream like images. So she doesn't really know what's real and what's what's not. And yeah, and it takes you on a ride. So it's we don't want to give too much away, but it's a good, got a good ride.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if all of you saw that horror movie, the Ring. Like it definitely gives off like a lot of those vibes from that horror movie, The Ring. You know, when someone watches the videotape, they die in 7 days, and basically like she
Yeah.
has to see the photos or else she's gonna die, and it definitely has like a Ring type vibe.
I have a funny story. Yeah, I saw that with my friend in the theater years, that came out maybe 2004. But yeah, that my friend and I it's pretty scary. I mean, we found it to be a very scary film, but there's a TV in that movie that's in a barn that the girl watches it on, and I had that exact TV. And so we're like, you should watch this movie when it comes out on video on that TV in a barn. So yeah, it was, but that movie was terrible. Yes, it does have kind of a similar with the kind of technology and the mystery, and what are all these images mean, and how do they correlate to the ending.
Oh yeah, and I mean, without giving too much away, like, is there a certain scene that everyone loved the most, like without telling too much about the scene, I guess, because you want the people to see the movie, of course.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I was so impressed with the acting in this film. Just everybody brought it, and like it's really, really fun as a writer to like watch what you've written and like come out better with the actors that are playing the characters than you could have imagined. And I say that with a lot of sincerity. So when I think of like my favorite scenes, I'm like, man, all of the scenes are really good. I think one of my favorite scenes was a scene with Jared Noble and Whitney Rose Pynn, who play Liam and Wynne in the movie, where they have this scene in a grain silo. And for me, it was just such a profound moment, and like just of acting, but also within the story. But a funny part of that scene behind the scenes is that it had been a little chilly, and then it really warmed up in Ohio. And when that happened, all of these ladybugs just hatched in nature. There were thousands. I'm not exaggerating. And so when filming that scene, there were so many ladybugs. They were like knocking into the equipment and stuff. So it made it magical, but also the most bizarre. So I that's one of my favorite scenes. So yeah.
The ladybugs, mine too.
Yeah,
that's mine too.
I think I mean, for me, Justin, the scene in the barn, it's technically a hangar, but it's a barn in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a 5.5 minute long single shot that we did. And I think Justin had less than a day to memorize this scene. And he's
Really?
talking most of the scene. I mean, he's got so many lines, it's like nonstop. And, we had to choreograph everything. And we only had 15 minutes to do it. So we could only do like 2 takes. And it was just, everybody was on their A game and just brought it. I mean, Whitney too is amazing in that scene. But Justin, for me, and then when we were filming, this cat jumped down in the middle of the scene, and when that happened, and then Justin yeah, he threw Justin threw a great improv line, didn't skip a beat, and then it was just like, this is the take, this has got to be the take. So we were only halfway through it at that point, so it's like, please don't mess up. Please, nobody. I'm talking about me mostly, just with the camera, like, please don't screw up the shot.
Yeah, because we were timing it for the lighting outside, so that's why we only had this very small window to get it. That is a good scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene. It's when we first are introduced to to Chris, Justin's character. So
yeah,
great way to start that.
Yeah, that was a blast. That was a real blast. I remember also being deathly afraid of not messing up the lines, of being like halfway through and going like, oh, this is going really good. Focus up, stay in, horse blinders on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, everybody, I mean, it's almost like a sporting, it's like you've got to throw the ball in the, the hoop or whatever, and you get one shot. That's how it was, and everybody nailed it. So
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Hey, to
Yeah.
get that done so fast, like you had all those lines and you had to get it done in such a short period of time. That's awesome that you got it
Yeah.
done, even with a cat that's jumping in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Thank goodness to doing all that Shakespeare I do. That was helpful to get all those lines in my head and also be ready for the cat, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. So where was it filmed at? Did you shoot it in like a bunch of different spots?
It was filmed in Ohio, in near Chillicothe, Ohio, and it was primarily at one location, this farmhouse, and then we filmed the barn scenes at another farmhouse, like a quarter of a mile across the way. So, but it was all pretty centrally located, and that was one of the reasons we did that, was to make it, because this was a pretty quick shoot, and we wanted it to be as efficient as possible.
And also the farmhouse was actually like built like 150 years ago and was originally an inn. So that was really amazing production value. And so it had like all these doors, because they used to be different entrances to different rooms of the inn. So it brought something, I think, to the movie that was like very intriguing, as far as like the story with the location.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
since the movie deals with a cell phone and the images on the cell phone and stuff like that, is there anything scary to you all, like, about your cell phone? Like, do you find anything scary about it, like, knowing certain things and all that stuff?
Yeah. I don't know about
I
anyone
mean, I
else.
can talk about that for a second. I always have issues because I like try and shut my microphone off because I'm afraid that it's always listening. But I think more than anything is I love my friends and my family so much, but I get very overwhelmed when I get alerts on my phone and messages, and I instantly am like, I just need to put it away. I can't even deal with this. Like back in the day, no one had to deal with being like constantly contacted.
Yeah.
I feel like the phone, you leave it somewhere and you feel like, you've lost a limb, but it does feel good to get some space from it for sure.
Especially if it's
Yeah,
haunted.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about all the rest of everyone here? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think. Oh, go ahead, Justin.
No, I was going to say that there is also like the obvious thing of like when you are talking about, man, I want pizza, and then you get on your phone and suddenly you have like 6 Domino's ads, and
Oh,
it's
that's
like, wow,
scary.
it's very quick. It's very
Yes.
quick, which
Yeah.
is what's so insane about it. It's like it's not loading. It's like actively listening now,
I know. It's
which
scary.
always blows my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we live in an era where everybody's lives are projected out to everyone at all times, and I think that's creates a lot of anxiety in a way. I mean, there used to be more privacy, and it also, for me, it creates this sense that I'm always feeling, oh, I need to be somewhere else, like, because you're on your phone and it's somewhere else, so you're getting used to being somewhere else, even though you're like actually in a room with maybe other people. And so you get this flighty sort of feeling of anxiety that, oh, I need to be somewhere else when you're not on your phone. Or and I think this movie deals with that a lot, where this character wants to be anywhere but where they are, and yet they're being, they're looking at the past and the future at the same time, and they're trying to find the present moment and live in that. So
Oh yeah. And since this is a horror movie, do you all have a horror movie that you like watching the most?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really like, man, to pick one. I mean, I can, the classic like The Shining, for me is high up there. But more recently, I really liked It Follows, and I liked Night House a lot. So yeah, but those, I don't know, I just like that It Follows. It had a nice kind of drama to it, a story about, but then it had this high concept quality to it, which I think is similar. Not, I mean, our film is not similar in a lot of ways, but it's got a drama to it, and it's the horror is maybe a simmering element that's building behind it.
Yeah, and I'll say I'm not I'm scared of horror movies. I find them scary. But in preparation for this, I didn't prepare by watching tons and tons of horror. But I did read the original script of The Grudge, which was like, written in Japan. And it was one of the scariest like movies. I guess I was just reading the script, but it was one of the scariest things I've ever read. And so I really appreciated that writing and like just the original script of The Grudge, I guess I would have to say.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about everyone else? Do you all have a favorite horror film?
I think for me, because I love horror movies, and it takes a lot to scare me in one. And I mean, to this day, I love Hereditary. Like that's at the top for me. I mean, that thing was crazy. So yeah, any horror movie that can get me scared, I'm into. But then also The Shining, classic wise, I love The Shining. It's such a good story. So
Yeah, I don't do great with horror movies, which is funny because I have been in a bunch of them. But I remember I loved Get Out. I thought that was a really good movie. But yeah, The Shining, I wouldn't say like I love to watch it because I have to watch it during the day. Like I'm like too scared to like watch it the way it should be watched. But it's such a classic, good movie. Shelley Duvall, so good.
Oh my God, yes. And what about Justin?
Lastly, I had to round it out with I am also too scared of movies that are spooky. I had a rough time watching this one, but we were brave. We were brave and we made it through. But I think a lot of horror, there have been horror movies that I have been forced to watch, that are amazing, astounding, Hereditary being one of them.
Yeah.
Could not stand having to sit down and watch it, but also acting incredible, story incredible. Get Out, incredible. Us had me the walk to my car was stressful. From the theater to the car was a stressful walk. So like there's like horror movies do have an effect on me, but the effect is fear, and I like to feel brave, so I don't watch a lot of them. But the ones I watch are fantastic. I'm sure someone will convince me to watch The Shining eventually, and probably someone's gonna watch this. One of my friends is gonna watch this and go like, "You haven't seen The Shining?" And then I'm gonna be forced to watch that pretty soon. So
probably. And where could fans like watch the film, follow the film, and follow every one of you at?
Yeah, so Whisperstone Films on Instagram is where we're marketing most of the stuff for the film, and then it's available right now for pre-order on Apple TV Plus or Apple TV. So it's available for pre-order right now on Apple TV, and then on February 13th, it's going to be on demand on all of the major, Amazon, Vudu, what else?
All the Spectrum cable, and Google Play, Microsoft. So, anywhere that you probably can rent a movie, it'll be there.
Yeah, and it's currently the top like independent movie on Apple TV pre-order page right now. So, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And where could like fans follow everyone at? Like where, you know, your Instagram or website or whatever.
Yeah, we have Whisperstone, at Whisperstone Films for the movie, and then I'll let all the actors talk about their pages too.
Yeah, I'm mostly just on Instagram, and it's just at Whitney Rose Pynn. It's just my name.
Okay.
Same with me, just Instagram. It's Jared Noble. That's it.
I'm also on Instagram, but my Instagram handle is so obnoxiously difficult to say now that I'm hearing everyone else's. Mine is Palafet of Soul. There's periods between it. Palafet is PALAPHET period OF period SOL. It's a joke.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we get that one.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And I'm gonna to end it with like one final question that has nothing to do with the film. If you all were gonna do a karaoke, what do you think you would do?
Oh, I always
Sweet
do.
Home Alabama.
Yeah,
Oh, these are good. Those are great songs.
yeah. Whitney, it's hard, but like do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I get
I
back
like
a lot.
doing, which
Oh,
is not in my register. Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead, Whitney.
sorry,
Go
Luke,
go
you
ahead,
go.
Whitney.
So this is not in my register at all, but I really like to do I Believe in a Thing Called Love by the Darkness, and it just like gets everyone going, and it's fun.
She loves it.
That's good.
She loves singing it.
Yeah, I mean, I get back a lot, so I'd probably do Loser or, you know, one of his hits, but yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think I'm gonna do Jesse's Girl.
Ah, nice.
Oh my god, yes.
Classic.
Yeah. I hit.
For me, it's don't stop believing
And
by
you?
Journey, because
Yes.
Well, I don't like karaoke.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming on the show and talking about your amazing horror film, and thank you again for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Rocco.
Thanks,
This is a blast.
Rocco.
Yeah, thanks, Rocco.
Thanks, Rocco.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye, Rocco.
Bye.
Later.